Eddie, over to you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a blessing to have all of us here today. This program has been much anticipated, and we thank God for this day. I would want to for us to pray, then we begin this service. All right. Most gracious and everlasting Father, we thank you. We pray that you will, Lord, will come and help us with this meeting in Jesus' name. We pray. Amen. Okay,
Amen.
so by way of introduction, I would like to introduce our facilitator. He is in the person of Mr. Enoch Mensah Boate. He holds a PhD in applied theology from the Science University of Life Science, Prague. I don't know if I got that correct.
Prague, that's correct. Sorry.
Prague, yes. Yes, so a little background intro about who our facilitator is. He started his professional career as a teacher after graduating from the SDA College of Education as a Koriko for Eritrea. He taught for 3 years and went to UCC to pursue Bachelor of Science there. Yeah, he also gained admission on the full shares government scholarship for Masters in Natural Resource and Environment at the Shares University of Land Science in the university he mentioned in 2015. Yes, while at UCC, a facilitator happened to be an active NAS member, and to my surprise, he was the National Coordinating Secretary back in 2012. So we realized that our people, our alumni, are going higher in their heights and they are giving back to our association. So over to you, Mr. Enoch. Thank you very much for having us here once again.
Thank you, Mr. President, uh, for the Southern sector of NAS, right? The Southern Ghana Conference, Union
Yes,
Conference.
yes,
That's
please.
great. That's great. Thank you for the kind introduction and also for having me to facilitate this all but important discussion on the topic before graduation insights that matter. I may want to just speak briefly about my motivation to delve into this topic for our audience and um, our fellow NAS members. I think that this topic is quite important based on my own experience and also the experiences of others. In Ghana, you would agree with me that the unemployment rate is quite high, even among people graduating from the tertiary. And it seems to me that many of us do think that our journey to uh, getting employed begins after we have graduated. However, I hold a different opinion, and probably if I have had this information prior to my graduation from UCC, I could have been more informed and I could have achieved certain things at a different timeline compared to probably what I have achieved now. Um, I also believe that we do not have to all the time learn from our mistakes. Sometimes it's prudent to learn from other people's mistakes and their experiences so that we will jump some hurdles that if we had to learn from our experiences and our mistakes could cost us some time or duration in order to gain to overcome such hurdles. So I'm always advocating that people will learn from other people's mistakes and their experiences to better their life without having to go through the same experience. And for this reason, putting together my experiences, the experiences of people that I have encountered, colleagues and mates, I feel like this topic is right for our audience because one, um, whatever we do in our respective universities at this moment would somehow directly or indirectly affect what awaits us out there. And I would want to start by saying that before you graduate, you must decide on three important things. What are these things? So I am assuming that majority of our listeners are um, undergraduate students, and probably let's say there are also um, uh, graduate students as well. However, um, some might decide that upon graduation, be it undergraduate or master studies that they are pursuing currently, they may want to proceed to study further, either masters or PhD. And um, based on this decision, there are certain measures that they need to put in place whilst at school currently or presently. The second consideration that one must make is whether they want to go into the world of work immediately after graduation from their respective study programs, be it masters or bachelors or PhD. If that is the consideration one is making, a number of factors must also be put in place. And then the third, which is the last point or factor to consider during before graduation, is whether you want to go into the field of work for a stipulated um, number of years, after which you want to go back to the classroom to further your education. So all these three considerations would come with some obligations on the part of the um, the person taking this decision or the student taking this decision. And I would now take them one after the other, and then talk into details or go into details on this subject matter. Before then, permit me to share the link to some few people who are interested in joining, and we can take it up from there. All right, so back to the topic. I will start with students who anticipate further studies upon their graduation. Let's say they are undergrads right now pursuing different study programs or different field of studies. If one intends to further their education, it is very important and key to make the following consideration: where you want to study, what program you would want to study at postgraduate level, and how you want to finance your study is very important things to consider. Where you want to study, I mean destination. Do you want to study locally? What you want to study, the program of study. For example, I studied bachelor's of agriculture, which was general agriculture. I took study programs. Sorry, I took courses under soil science. I took courses under animal science, agriculture engineering, agriculture extension and economics, and then crop science. So this was quite a huge field. And going into postgraduate studies, I needed to narrow down on which area I wanted to go. So if your field for undergraduate study is very broad, for example, if someone is studying Bachelor of Commerce or um, business administration at undergraduate, you might come along marketing aspect of it. You might take courses in um, finance, accounting, economics, and related uh, topics. But going into masters, probably you want to still continue in masters of business administration, but maybe you want to focus on finance, you would want to focus on um, accounting, you may want to focus on management and what have you, public policy, public administration, and all that. So these must come up right at the onset of your bachelor studies. Unfortunately, we do not get this guidance ahead of time. So it looks like we don't adequately prepare ourselves to get outside, to get out of undergraduate studies, knowing exactly what we want, where we want to go. So we get swayed by the wind, the direction of the wind. And by this, I mean to say that we just avail ourselves um, for any opportunity, even if that isn't what we have prepared ourselves for. Why it is important to know this is that if you know that finance is something you're going to pursue further, or crop science is something you're going to pursue further, it will help you to decide where to carve your research topic, right? So you start to build yourself there. And also, for example, if you want to remain in the academia, which I will come back to it, especially under the work consideration aspect. So you start to build yourself up for that uh, area of specialization for your master's and probably your PhD studies, if you have this already in mind. So you do well in these areas and you conduct your research also in this area. Okay. Um, what is also important to note is, where do you want to study? Which country do you want to study? Do you want to study in Ghana? Even in Ghana, which university? I know some people who graduated from UCC, and following their graduation, they continue to study in Ghana, but in other universities, University of Ghana, uh, um, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and so on. Some also studied undergraduate in Legon, and they found that the UCC has graduate programs which resonate well with them, so they further on. So if you think you would go on to study in the same university, or a different university in the same country, that's good. You have to find out the available programs, their requirements, how to prepare your application and admission requirements and all that, so that before you graduate, you make sure that you will meet the requirements of this um, program in the university you intend to study. So you build yourself up for it whilst you are still undergraduate student. Um, if you intend to study outside Ghana, you have to start checking. Let's say you want to study USA, you want to study in Canada, you want to study in Germany, um, various universities in the United States, and various programs offered by these universities have specific requirements when it comes to GPA, when it comes to experiences, when it comes to courses that you need to be able to enroll on such postgraduate programs. They are very well stated there. So if, for example, you want to study um, molecular biology, molecular and cell biology, master's or PhD at a certain university, let's say Stanford University in the United States of America, you will start to research. Maybe the minimum GPA expected of um, applicants should be 3.0 on the 4.0 scale. Um, you need to maybe have uh, you need to have taken undergraduate course in biochemistry, chemistry, biology, and stuff. So by knowing the requirements in advance, by knowing where you want to study and also the university's requirement, you start to prepare yourself. Besides all that you will do in your current university, some of the program requires that, or some of the university has some extra requirements. For example, English language proficiency score or certificate. While some universities may waive or take that requirement out because you studied in an English um, in a university or an institution where English is used as the medium of instruction. Others do not do that. They will require you to write specific exams and present the score. And these are all outlined in the admission or eligibility criteria. So um, you need to know where you want to go and study, the study program you want to pursue, so that you will prepare for the requirements. For example, some universities would offer you public policy and related programs, but or agriculture economics and also and all sort of programs. But for example, for the graduate applicant, you need to have what they call the graduate record exams. So if your thinking is that um, after my national service, I want to continue to pursue masters in public policy at the Michigan Tech University, you go and search for the requirement, and maybe within the period where you are doing your national service, you prepare and write the GRE, so that by the time you would finish your national service, you have all the required documents and certificates to be able to apply for that master's program. The third about the study, further study that you need to consider is how you want to finance your studies. Do you want to study by scholarship, or let's say fully funded programs? If so, you have to start to search for fully funded study program that will fall into the category of the program you are pursuing. And by this, I am trying to say that, for example, if let me use my agriculture background. Um, if you want to study, let's say, agriculture economics on scholarship following your bachelor studies, you start searching for scholarship opportunities, the requirement for the opportunity, the eligibility criteria, and make sure that you fulfill these. Some scholarships do have specific requirement for GPA. Some scholarship will say we need a first class student. Other scholarships will say be, at least a second class lower, a second class upper, and stuff. By knowing or having this prior knowledge and information will also help you to build your um, academic prowess, to build a better GPA, to commit to your study and ensure that you are preparing to meet these requirements. I feel like some people go through the university and at the end something just occurred to them that, oh, everybody is trying to go and study abroad and I want to also go and study abroad. But several setbacks or several factors will set them back from achieving this, because since they didn't prepare themselves, or they didn't have this already thought of, their GPA might work against them. I have had a lot of people come to me ask to help them apply to schools to study abroad, and some of the major challenges they have been facing are even getting recommendation letters from the university. Some also, the issue is with the GPA, where they want to go and study, and the study program requirement. So if you have in mind that you're going to study abroad eventually after graduation, one of the requirements, for example, in the United States, they require you to present three recommendation letters by way of providing the information about your referee, and they will send an email to this referee. If you graduate without having a certain personal relationship, without your lecturer or your professor knowing you so much, at least based on this, at least 3 4 professors or lecturers, you should have a very strong intimate relationship with them, to the extent that whenever you approach them to ask for recommendation letter, they are always ready and willing to help you. I graduated from UCC since in 2012. It's been almost 13 years, right? But till date, I can still make contact to with my previous professors, and they will be readily available to provide me with whatever I need in terms of recommendation, because we have established that rapport, we have established that relationship. When I mention my name, they know me, and I checked on them. So at least in the course of your study, try to stand out, if not in every subject, stand out, or every course, stand out in specific courses of your interest. And by standing out, your lecturer will come to also know you, establish relationship with these lecturers, so that they would in the end be willing and available to recommend you for future opportunities if they present themselves. Also, try to take advantage of opportunities on campus to volunteer, to show leadership, and to do a lot of things. Because beyond the academic excellence, what these universities outside are, are hoping to see include the fact that your involvement, your community involvement, your volunteering skills. How are you using the knowledge you have gained to help the community you belong to, support the progress of your people? Are you also exhibiting some leadership position? Because, for example, in the United States of America, um, you have to write what they call statement of purpose and personal statement, and they want you to outline some of these, because knowledge, for me, it's to help to make the society better. So if you acquire knowledge and you are not demonstrating any leadership skills, any contribution to community development and all those stuff, I think that it minimizes your chance of getting a scholarship or fully funded. So integrate extra curricular activities in your overall development. Some people do go to the university and just steady, 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 and make the A's. These are good, but apart from that, they cannot talk about anything. And as you rightly mentioned, I was the national coordinating secretary um for NAS, but even before then, I was a welfare secretary, and then I became the welfare chairman. And those were those were positions that required a lot of service to the fellowship members. You have to sacrifice time to go. You have to sacrifice time. Go away.
Please, let's give our speaker some time. I'm sure he'll join soon. Thank you very much. And please, let's follow the chat notice there. If you have any questions, you can simply ask. Thank you very much.
I'm really sorry about that. My nephew just entered and was making too much noise, so I needed to deal with it. Yeah, so back to what I was talking about. It's very important to prepare yourself adequately whilst you are in school and whilst you can to get all the information that will help you to progress with your further studies if you intend to study abroad. So these extracurriculum activities are very important. And as I was talking about my role as the welfare secretary and welfare chairman, we served the people a lot. We did serve our fellowship a lot in terms of organizing trips to funeral. There were times that uh in UCC and with the School of Agriculture, most of our quizzes were conducted at dawn, and there were times that we needed to travel for funeral, and you are welfare chairman and you are leading this, travel for weddings and you are welfare chairman and you are leading that, and you just go in on the weekend, let's say Sunday, and you're coming back to write a quiz on Monday down. So you are traveling, and even it's very late. You have to go with your notes, and whilst in the bus you are reading and stuff. These activities, you might think that it was a waste of time and stuff, but when you are asked to write personal statement and you have to demonstrate leadership and volunteering skills, these are some of the things that would help you to stand out in your application. So, assuming that I am competing for the same position with Edmond, and Edmond is the national NAS president. He's using his platform or his position to organize these programs to build the NAS members. He is participating in community development and stuff, and I don't have any of this. The possibility of Edmond getting chosen over me is high. So it is not, and I will repeat this, it is not a waste of time to commit to the activities of the fellowship as a leader and even as an active participant. It's so rewarding, and I'm not going to bore you with the list of people from my fellowship, my predecessors, my colleagues, and those who have come after us, who have had opportunities to travel and study on scholarships elsewhere in the United States, in Europe, in UK, etc. They were all playing active role in the NAS, and I'm not talking about only those who have traveled, but also those who are doing very well in respective um, their respective workplaces or place of influence. So um, these extracurricular activities are not just important in Ghana; they are also very important outside of Ghana. So let's take note, and in terms of thinking about the future after graduation, know that whilst we have the opportunity and time at the university, we should make sure that we get all these things right. We make enough time to also um, build build our academic credentials. One thing that I want to highlight that can easily be overlooked is the kind of friends you would make at the university. Some friends are going to make sure that you meet your goal or you live the dream. And there are others who are going to make sure that even the plans and the big dreams that you had prior to meeting them, they're going to bring that your dream down, or they're not going to make you realize it. And I say this from personal experience, but mine experience is for on the first part, friends who are going to help you build your dream. Let me tell you this story about myself and my very good friend. We met in college, SDA Training College in 2002. Um, and when we were about, and then we became friends. When we were about to graduate, we made one thing clear, or two things clear, that one, even though we are graduating and going out there as teachers, the usual approach of the teachers out there was to do top up and then get a diploma. At the time, they were not issuing diploma; they were issuing certificate A. So get a diploma through online or distance studies, and then maybe go ahead and get bachelor's, and that was all. So we decided that we're not going to get involved in any of these um, activities. Um, and that we were not going to spend more than 3 years teaching. So after 3 years, we should go to the university. When we graduated, he was posted to one village, I was posted to another village, and I didn't know how quick the 3 years came. I think I had already even forgotten all these things that we said. I was just enjoying my village life, although I used to come to Koforidia on vacations and stuff, but the village appreciated me. I mean, so I almost forgot these uh, points that we made was at college. One day I was there when I got a call from him, and he told me, "Man, I have bought the forms from UCC for this program." And that was when I realized that it was 3 years. And so I contacted another friend to check if the forms were available at UCC, and they checked and they bought it for me. And the two of us went back to UCC, same study program, graduated, and that is how. So you might want to rethink the kind of friends you are making on campus. If they are friends that are going to help you to achieve your dream, those people who are going to guide you and remind you of the dreams that you share together, because it is important and you don't have to overlook that. Your friends can make you and unmake you. So that is very, very important. Um, the next about the studying, further studying, is that usual if you again if you want to study on scholarship, apart from looking for the available scholarship and trying to fit yourself into the into the requirement, it is also important to know that certain research topics are easily sponsored. Before you even decide to do a particular project work or thesis or dissertation topic, you may want to, for example, if Edmond is currently at Legon pursuing what let's say biological sciences, and in the field of biological sciences you can do a lot of different things. If in the future Edmond wants to study biomedical science as a program, master's program, probably, and he has in mind the university where he wants to study, he probably wants to go and check what kind of topics and research that are ongoing in that university, which professors work resonate well with him, so that he can, I mean, have a broader perspective of where and how to select his research topic and work on it, so that when you are going to apply and they're asking for your writing sample, which is your research work and stuff, because your research interest falls within their research interest, that is going to be a plus for you. Don't just undertake research just because you want to fulfill your obligation. So you just take it as and do anything just to graduate. You don't care. I mean, you can do that as long as you are not looking forward to future study opportunities. But if you are seeking to move on to postgraduate studies, then it matters what kind of research you conduct. We didn't have this kind of advice, and we know that it was a struggle um, uh, going forward in that direction. Um, Also, another important thing to note is that research, oh sorry, funding provided by universities and research institute are not just something for free. They are looking for people with some pre- requisite skills who can also bring something to the table. And so, one of the things that matter in terms of um, graduate studies and research study is the ability to do data and statistical analysis. Our courses will not teach us into details. There are um, statistical software programs and then languages and all that, which you can take time to build yourself in and gain in-depth knowledge to carry along, because scholarship um, some scholarship um, requirement would be to have ability to use, let's say, Python, R programming and stuff for data analysis and all that. So if you are stepping out without having this knowledge, it's already against you. Our internet has a lot of free sources to learn some of this. So while you prepare to excel in your courses that you are undertaking at the university, you may want to explore these free online courses and programs to gain extra knowledge that will make you stand out um, in terms of pursuing master's program on scholarship. So that is it about if you want to go ahead for further studies. If you have any question, try to put that in the comment section and I will address accordingly. If you also have Eddie's contact, you probably want to send your question to him and he will read it out loud for us. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the unemployment and people who are hoping that after studies, they want to step out into the world of work and how they can make the best out um, whilst they are in school. Um, if my experience or what I experience is still valid today, it means that there are semester breaks where you have about 2 to 3 months break, and in some institutions and for some programs you have compulsory internship at least for 1 semester, and the rest you decide with what you want to do. um on the back of this, I would say that as much as possible, use all your long semester period breaks to gain some practical work skills by taking up internship, even if they are not paying you, taking out up volunteering work um, as much as you can afford, and also learn something outside of your classroom that will make you stand out. By this, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes um, you have to have an advanced search or make an advanced search about the field you want to enter. Gain the knowledge, look at the required skill set that they look out for in potential employees or candidates for employment. Um, for example, if you have access to LinkedIn, you can go to the job search and search for a specific role, and several advertisements will come up on that role. You can go through the advertisement and look at the kind of candidates they are looking for that seat, that role. If that is a role that if that is a role that you would want to get yourself into in the future, you look at all the skills. Are all these skills provided by your university education? Sometimes the answer is no, and not only just sometimes, in most times the answer is no. So how then do you cover up for the missing information that you are not getting from um, your usual courses you are taking in the university? It may require that you learn um, these extra soft skills online that will make you stand out. You have to also network profusely, and by network, I'm telling you, sometimes you I have really networked myself so much so well that I have professors and friends in Ghana who are sending me so many opportunities that come up during that are sending me all the information that are necessary for job application. I'm really sorry. Yeah, so you need to be able to network in such a way that your network could even be a source of recommendation to you and support your possibility to find jobs. Sometimes you cannot find all the jobs advertisements outside, and if you have a good network, if you are in company of people who care about your well-being, um, they would be ready to send you any opportunity that falls within your category. Prior to starting this session, I read a story on Facebook about a friend who sent a link to a job to another friend, and from this um, link, the friend got the job and rewarded. Just imagine that the person has not built this network of friends who care about their professional well-being. How are they going to find it? And sometimes it should the connection or the network you build should extend beyond the friends within your category. It can go to extent of connecting with people who are already professionals in the field that you seek to get involved in after school. You have to subject yourself and open yourself up for job fairs. I think in Ghana they don't usually do job fairs or opening days where various industrial players or fields will come to the university or organize a job fair elsewhere, and you can go interact with them, opportunities there, and what they look out for actually when they are actually recruiting people. So this is important thing to do. If opportunity comes for you to attend conferences and uh, work related programs, make good use of those opportunities because it's going to help in the long run to connect with industrial players who can recognize you, your potential, your contribution, and reward you accordingly when the time comes for you to um, find a job. Another point that I want to talk about is that you may not always find the desired already established job you want to embark on, but you can create these opportunities for yourself. Um, whilst in school and whilst um, you want to work on your research, try to find a research topic that is a solution to an existing problem and work on it. I read I read and watched a documentary about the people who built America. These people were people who found specific problems of America and provided solution to these problems. And the solution became their commercial product. They marketed it and they gained a lot out of it. So don't just go to the university with the intention of taking the courses and um, um, scoring the best grades. I know people who had first class in my class. There were three people who had first class uh, in in the Bachelor of Agriculture, and some were still looking for opportunity to use their knowledge, and it was even difficult. On the other hand, you might know Dr. Van Eyck. Dr. Van Dyke, I interviewed him maybe 4 months ago. He finished Doctor of Optometry in UCC, and following that, he's established and it also eye health services. First, it was eye center, but now it's health services because he has added what they call dental services as part of the venture. Now, what uh, Dr. Van Dyke Bright Van Dyke Archery did was that whilst he was pursuing his Doctor of Optometry program, he was even doing some volunteering and doing some, let's say, work related to this his field. And he realized that in the rural communities and stuff, I sites continues to be problem and accessing such healthcare wasn't there. So he carved an idea to solve this problem, which idea has now translated into practical uh, um entrepreneurial opportunities, and he's even expanding it from the rural to to the urban and city communities. So you have to, my advice that I really tell people is that you really don't just have to conduct a research for research sake to just fulfill academic requirement. Identify a real need, a real problem that needs solution, and carve your research in such a way that um, you are going to solve that problem, and the solution you offer would be can be developed into a business idea. And if you are going to develop a business idea, what I would admonish is that you also contact experts who are in the field, who are in the business field, the finance field, and all that, to gain extensive insight. Also, you must be actively involved in whatever business venture you intend to embark on. If you want to play absentee business owner, your business will fail. If you want to be the jack of all trade and know everything about your business, you may not succeed. That's why we have experts there. Experts can even be your friends who would be able to advise you on certain things, people who have trained in the field and all that. And sometimes you may think about how to raise funds. It can be very easy. I have always managed to convince people to invest in my ideas because I have friends, I have the idea, and I feel like when we come together, we can do this. I prepare the plan in such a way that when I discuss with them, they are ready to venture into that with me. And it also comes with the kind of trust you build with these people. So you must have very high integrity and think outside the box in terms of what you want to achieve and what you want to do for yourself. Um, Again, on the work related topic, one thing I want to us again highlight is the fact that um, our education system doesn't teach us certain things, right? They do not teach us CV writing. They do not teach us how to even write emails. And on countless occasions, I have asked people to send me emails. They have approached me to help them with something. I have asked them to send me emails, and they will and attachments, and they will be forwarding the attachments one after the other, new document, and they can send that like 19 emails. I don't even open them. I'm being honest with you. It's annoying and it's boring. You want help from me? You want me to open the open the document and find who which document what that document is about, when you could just label the document CV, the document motivation letter and stuff, and you're not doing. Yeah, I know that that is a lapse in our system, but also it's not everything that the university is going to teach you. At leisure, try to learn some of these things on your own. Don't just use your internet um for entertainment. I mentioned LinkedIn, and when I I conducted a survey among the participants and asked which of them had LinkedIn, a lot of people do not have. And LinkedIn is a professional platform that you can learn so much, so much from. So please, you have to build yourself up. Some people wonder why they send CV outside and they don't get response. They cannot even fulfill the basic requirement of CV. Their CVs do not meet that basic requirement. So how else do you want an employee to admit you? Again, try to find people who can mentor you, who can coach you in a certain aspect. I know there are people, professional coaches and mentors that you would have to pay them to gain this experience, but also you can get it for free depending on the relationship you build and the people within your cycle. Last time, one lady wrote me, and then I said she should call me if she had time so that we could talk. She seemed a very young, brilliant lady, and unfortunately, I've forgotten the field. But yes, she's the teaching assistant at KNUST, and she she was contemplating um, the next move in her career and academic life, and she is thinking whether she should go into to work in the field and after some time go back to school, work in the field again, and maybe get into the academia. And she had, I mean, the long term. So I asked about her long term goal, her short term goal, and stuff. And she wants to ultimately establish business in her field of study. It's quite novel, like it's very new idea, and I buy into that. But first, she wants to get into the industry and work and gain some experience. And at the same time, she's thinking if she should go and study masters and stuff. And hello, please, can you hear me? Eddie, can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So when I was talking about the lady at KNUST, could you hear me? Because I realized that my did you hear the story about the lady from KNUST?
Yes, I did, but then it seems like just at the end there are some breakages. You are not getting the full listening sounds.
All right. So I would try to okay, good. Thanks, Pastor Huzote. They could hear me, so that's good. All right. So um I spoke with her. So the program she wanted to go and study, she can actually apply for PhD directly with her bachelor's, right? But her fear was that if she takes a PhD and then she comes back, she probably might not get the job in the industry because the industry will not be accepting PhD. And also, there was a possibility to do the master's and then continue with the PhD because it is allowed. But again, that was what she was thinking: go and do masters and then come back, work, establish something, then go and do PhD and come to the academia. So I discussed with her, look, I understand perfectly what you're saying, but um, you must have CV for everything, every um, application. You must have a tailored CV in such a way that, um, for example, if you are applying for a job that does not require a PhD, you don't put your PhD there, and that's still good. Yeah, please, you can put your questions in the comment section and I would address them accordingly. And maybe Eddie, if you would have some questions along the line, you can pause me and ask your questions. So you don't really need to uh, put, like, because of the kind of idea you have for yourself, limit yourself in that scope. Again, stepping out there could even broaden your knowledge in the field and the business you intend to do eventually, because some of the practices out here are very different from the businesses in Ghana and the mentality with which people approach their businesses in Ghana. So it is very, very important to um, explore all the possibilities. And yes, after because when you take breaks, a lot of breaks, uh, before you get into the go back to the classroom, it can be challenging. It can be very difficult learning, getting admission and stuff. In the US system, they have the traditional student and the non-traditional student. The non-traditional students, they are the people who have breaks in their academic pursuit, and so sometimes um, they need they have extra requirement to fulfill their admission criteria. So I gave her all the explanations necessary to be able to make informed decision, and from there she thanked me uh, very much and was able to make the decision that I hope will eventually help her. And now the other aspect that I didn't talk about in terms of if you intend to study abroad or you intend to go for further studies post graduation, what you need to do is as much as possible um, take the teaching assistantship or research position because it boosts your CV if you are applying for to a university for assistantship position and um, you already have at least 1 year of teaching assistantship at your respective university, you already have you're already scoring some point over the person who has not have this experience. So if you want to remain in the academia or you intend to go study further after your graduation, it is important to consider um, the possibility of taking research or teaching assistantship role as much as possible. So there is a question here. Someone is in level 400 with a low GPA. How can she help herself into enrolling into master's program since it's almost too late for her? I don't know what you mean by low GPA, and yeah, but I have seen people who have um, third class and they are able to study masters. Sometimes the GPA is not the only thing that is required. I have mentioned again the your volunteering work, your community involvement, your extracurricular activities and stuff. When you are writing, you have opportunity. When you are applying, you have opportunity to write a motivation letter, a letter of intent, a statement of purpose, personal statement. You can you can elaborate tangible reasons why you couldn't perform to your maximum best and during your undergraduate studies, and explain what is new or what is different now that will make you be able to stand out. Some people might have financial difficulties during their bachelor's study, and that might have affected their performance so well. So if you're applying for, let's say, uh, low tuition study or scholarship, and you don't have to worry about financial issues, you could present this. And also if you have involved yourself in relevant field areas, if you have taken the steps to um, gain some important skills and knowledge necessary to um, embark on postgraduate studies, you can highlight them and how you excel. There are also recommendations from your referees would be very, very key to you gaining admission into master's study program. So I don't know how low the GPA is, but it's possible to do that if that is where you want to go. We can discuss that in more details some other time. And let me see. Let me see. Yes, and then the last the last point I would want to probably highlight, um, and take some questions from your people, is um, the career paths or career choice. I noticed in my interaction with people who come to me is that when they are building themselves for the world of work, they limit themselves to the possibilities and opportunities in Ghana, which is so, so wrong. And this might not be for only Ghanaians, but also um, might be for other African um, people from other African countries. We live in global world, and in recent times there are people who are in Ghana and working for companies outside Ghana. There are people who started working for companies in Ghana and they were moved to other countries to work. I know quite a number of people, Ghanaians, who are working in international establishments and organizations. And these people probably didn't limit themselves to just the possibilities in Ghana. So even when they are deciding which study program to get into, they are thinking, oh, this one will give me um, a readily available job opportunity. Whilst that is cool and really okay, advisable, if your potential could extend beyond Ghana, explore that. One of the reasons why my mother asked us to go to training college and all my siblings went through the training college, it's because when you finish there is job for you. So that was the main motivation. But so whatever I wanted to do and stuff, you didn't. And at that time, where was the internet and all that? So what I'm trying to say here is that do not limit your possibility to get employed to only Ghana. And of course, for example, there are people and there are some institutions that even if you go outside of Ghana to study and you want to find a job as a student, those um, if you have a certain qualification, you can easily get into those institutions and uh, those field than other people. So it is very, very important to acknowledge this. So um, always have a broader perspective, a broader mind, and if you want to be best at what you do, try to um, try to do something that will make you stand out, something that will make you irresistible, and something that your employees would want to see in you. Um, yeah, so basically, I am bringing my presentation to an end, and I would want to summarize my presentation in these 10 thematic areas or thematic topics. But if also there are some questions, really, I would be happy to take them. And so if our joiners have questions, they should uh, send them in the comment section. Um, One of the things to consider before you graduate is academic excellence and research exposure. Academic excellence and research exposure. As I said, you have to maintain strong academic record. GPA matters for scholarships and competitive program. So don't be deceived that your GPA don't matter. Also, you must get involved in the research project because most funded research programs are um, require you to have some prior knowledge and idea about research. And so, working on relevant um, research topics, if possible, publishing your research work prior to applying for a scholarship abroad can boost your profile very much. And then you have to build a very good relationship with your professors and lecturers, and mentors, so that they can provide you with very strong recommendation letters. For some scholarship, the assessment criteria, they list it and they allocate marks to each, and sometimes they are allocating 20 marks to the recommendation letters that you send in. So if your referee can speak so well and highly of you, you are already scoring 20 marks for that. Now, the other aspect, which is the second point that I want to mention, is that you have to uh, ensure some skills development. You have to strengthen your writing skills, ability to write good quality research proposal, statement of purpose. As I said, cover letter. Cover letter is necessary for job application and also for postgraduate um, um, school applications. So take note of that. Gain proficiency in data and statistical analysis, how to use relevant tools in the field that you want to get involved in. The third point is that some study abroad requires you to fulfill some international um, um, or standardized exams like the English proficiency exams, as I mentioned, or the GMAT or the GRE. You have to make sure that you are well invested in that, so that you boost your chance and or you fulfill the required um, admission criteria. Another one, which is the fourth point, is networking and professional development. This I have already mentioned, that you should, as much as possible, attend conferences, workshops, and seminars. You meet experts and potential mentors in the field. Also, LinkedIn is a platform you can leverage to connect with people in your field and seek guidance from them. Also, about the scholarships and funding, you must have thorough research on fully funded scholarships, their criteria, or the requirement, the eligibility criteria, and get prepared. You must also connect to yourself to relevant platforms where updates about grants, funding, scholarships are available. And for instance, I used my platform to provide information about scholarship opportunities. I use my platform to bring people who have certain experiences to talk about specific aspect of study abroad that will be of interest to our listeners and our audience. So you should do good search and try to find the relevant sources of information for your overall development. Also, gain work and internship experience. This I have already mentioned it. If you are considering PhD or research, look for assistantship or lab experiences. Some people will come to you, I finished in 2021 and I'm looking for study abroad opportunity, and you ask them, what are you doing now? They said, I am not working. What happened to internship and stuff? I understand that you want to work and gain money, but if the work is not coming, just use the opportunity to build yourself and build your CV. Because staying for 3 years and doing nothing, how are you going to convince the admission officer? And then you can, for example, in Germany, if you are studying in German language, it's free. In Czech Republic, if you are studying in Czech language, it is free. So if you feel, for example, that your GPA is not too good and you may not get scholarship, you may want to start learning other languages that will help you to study abroad, but also for free if you don't intend to study in Ghana. Also, you must put in strategic um, applications. For the study abroad, if your results and your extracurricular activity and CV will not make you too competitive enough, you should look for the universities that are not too competitive in terms of their admission requirement. And also, for some, you may not get, if you are not going to get scholarship, you should plan your finance very well in such a way that you can save towards the the payment of the tuition fee of the program you intend to study. And lastly, you have to stay updated and you have to take initiatives as well. The initiatives in terms of solving problem that can culminate into a business idea and business planning. You can take initiatives such as um, equipping yourselves with research skills and so on and so forth. You can take volunteering, you can participate in volunteering, you can also community involvement for holistic development. Someone is asking that um, please, can you give us some scholarship opportunities or even some universities that offer these scholarship programs? It's good that Joseph, who's you join on this same page. If you have subscribed, you can go through. I have already published a number of scholarships that are available here, and one easy and strategic way to search for scholarship is that to go to Google, right? If you are from Ghana, you let's say you are from developing country, you are an international student, and and so you can search master's scholarship for international agriculture student or master's scholarship for um, um, masters in economics for international students, right? So when you do this search, a number of them will come up. You go through, you check the eligibility criteria, and then you see which of them fits your qualification a lot so that you can start preparing yourself towards it. All right, so I think that one thing that we shouldn't forget also is that we should commit our ways and everything that we do into the hands of God. Like I told you, I know that over the years, NAS people or are going to places, they are making impact and influences. You can find NAS people in different sectors in Ghana, outside of Ghana, doing so very well. And I'm not surprised because these are were also people who were very, very active, very involving in NAS programs and dedicated their time to God's work as well. And God didn't forsake them. Uh, we were involved in post-semester crusades, like I said, attending funerals, excursions, and all those things. Planning and executing all these things were not easy. Taking role as a NAS president, NAS executive, even at the local fellowship level, is not easy. Talk less of um, national level. I remember in one of our national duties, we had to travel from UCC to BA. There's a place called Folicrum or Foricrum. We're going to discuss land issue for cashew production on behalf of NAS, and we were saved by friends that we knew in Kumasi. Otherwise, we would have had to sleep at the station and all that. These were nice experiences, though at the time wouldn't look so pleasant. But I strongly believe that God rewards His own who dedicate time and ask for His guidance. So in all this, we shouldn't forsake God. We should not just um, be too focused on academics. I have met people on campus who came from home as Adventists, and when we went to um, freshers welcoming and we met them, and subsequently invited them to church. They didn't want to come to church because their parents have even warned them that if they go and do church, and they fail, they will not come back home. And indeed, some of them listened to their parents, but they still went back home. Some got pregnant along the line, and they went back home. Nobody even expelled them. So I don't take God's work for granted. Whenever we have the opportunity to serve, we should serve diligently, and we will be rewarded accordingly. On this note, I want to thank my audience. I want to thank the organizers for having me and for um, um, making their platform available for me to share this insightful message and information with all. Thank you very much, Edmond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boateng. You've
Okay,
really, really
there is a question here. Maybe I will take the question, and
okay.
then if you have
Sure.
anything. Christabel Jemfi is asking, please, what about top-up undergraduate programs like Bachelor of Midwifery to Medicine? Oh, I know, For example, when we're in UCC, I think Pastor Huzote might remember. When we're in UCC, there were people who had background in nursing, and they came to start medicine, Doctor of Medicine at UCC. I forgot this particular lady's name, and I also know people from biochemistry who went to Kolebu to continue to study medicine. So, if you are asking this, in the realms of Ghana, it's possible. Outside, every university has specific requirements to study medicine. In the USA, you need to meet certain requirements in biology, biochemistry, physics, chemistry, organic chemistry, and all that. So I know that you can do it. You can really do it. But it depends on where you want to do it. So you would want to do specific search if that university or if that country accept people with background in midwifery to study medicine. So just take note about that. Christabel Jemfi. Um, just came across this life. Is it about scholarship for studying abroad? Carrie, so this was about educating people on how to prepare themselves before they graduate from their respective studies. And yes, as part of it, we touched on scholarships and stuff. But if you want to know more about scholarships to study abroad, yes, you you can check the page afterwards, and you would know more about it. I have my email address also on the page's description, so you can um, write me personally after the session if you have any inquiry to make on scholarship to study abroad. We can discuss that. Thank you. Edmond, I think I have exhausted the questions here, unless you have any question from your side and from your team members to me, then you can bring it.
Um, Unfortunately, we don't have any questions at the moment, but yeah, I think we've exhausted almost all the questions. In fact, I'm even overwhelmed myself. Honestly, I think there are a lot of homeworks I have to do and put up in place for my 6 years. And I think I'm not only going to focus on the health aspect, but then I'm going to look at other options like data analysis and the other statistics things you talk about, and to improve my listen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, what I would also say is that at least you have started something, carving a path for yourself. So search. Maybe it's not in all fields that they are looking for data analysis and stuff. For example, my PhD was in more or less parasitology and molecular aspect, and I needed certain softwares and microscopy skills to capture images and edit them and stuff. So I really didn't need statistical analysis. But when I came to Ghana and I conducted some other related research and I needed to analyze, I needed to learn this. So if you look into the field you want to go, you will see um, what gray areas, what spaces are there that um, you can learn more from, and probably that will help. Yeah. If your further studies might not require really statistics, then it's not necessary. But most research do. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Boateng. I think if there are no other questions, we can call it a day.
Thank you very much, and hopefully we can have a more fruitful discussion on going forward. And it's a pleasure to have me. Bye.
All right, bye. Thank you very much, NAS members, for joining, and any other person who joined us today. God will truly bless you.
Amen. Bye.